Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful lecture by the celebrated author Dr. Alaa Al Aswany. He's tackling a deep and, honestly, pretty troubling paradox that gets right to the heart of faith and morality.
And right away, Dr. Al Aswany hits us with this. This single sentence is a puzzle that's so much bigger than just simple hypocrisy. He's saying we're not dealing with people who are just faking it for show. No, the problem is way, way deeper. To even begin to understand it, we've got to first look at the classic model of the religious fraud.
And for that, we need to jump in a time machine and go all the way back to 17th century France. We're going to meet the original con artist of piety, a character so famous his name literally became the definition of a hypocrite.
Now, Molière was an absolute theatrical genius. His plays weren't just entertainment, they were razor-sharp critiques of society that took aim at the powerful connection between the church and the state. And no play did that better or caused a bigger uproar than Tartuffe.
So the character of Tartuffe, he's the blueprint for a religious fake. He pretends to be the super holy man to wiggle his way into a rich family, all so he can steal their fortune. But here's the key. He knows he's a fraud. He is faking every prayer, faking all his piety just to get paid. He is a 100% conscious deceiver. Okay, so you've got this classic European character. What's so interesting is how he gets a whole new life, a really relevant one, over in Egypt, thanks to a seriously brilliant act of cultural translation. The translator, Muhammad Othman Galal, didn't just swap out the words, he Egyptianized the whole thing. He turned Tartuffe into Sheikh Matlouf, a character that people in Egypt would instantly get. He made the story click in a totally new time and place. But this is where Dr. Al Aswany says, hold on, stop right there. He argues that the simple comparison ends here because the modern thing we're seeing today is way more complex and, frankly, way more disturbing than the classic Tartuffe. So here's the absolute crucial point. Tartuffe is a fake who pretends to pray. The modern figure Dr. Al Aswany is talking about isn't pretending at all. They pray sincerely, they fast, they are genuinely devout when it comes to their rituals. But, and this is the whole thing, they've managed to build a giant wall in their mind, completely separating those rituals from their ethical behavior. It's like piety is in one box and morality is locked away in another. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. Dr. Al Aswany shares these really powerful, kind of gut-wrenching, real-world stories to show what this dangerous split actually looks like day to day. Let's start in a classroom. Picture this. A student is furious, believing she's the victim of some terrible injustice. And why? Because she isn't being allowed to cheat on her exam. For the student, the religious rule about her hijab is absolutely non-negotiable. She's carefully adjusting it, making sure not a single strand of hair is showing. But the ethical rule about not cheating, that's seen as something totally different. An annoying obstacle, not a moral failure. In this bizarre separation, it can be found in some of the darkest places you can imagine. The examples get truly chilling. Just let that sink in for a second. The ritual of prayer is so critical that it has to be done on time no matter what. But the fundamental morality of not torturing another human being, that gets completely ignored in the minutes right before and right after that prayer. And this story, which Dr. Al Aswany tells, just perfectly captures the paradox. An officer is about to beat a confession out of a maid, but he's worried that her legs might show while it's happening. Why? Because that would be religiously forbidden, or haram. The torture itself wasn't the moral problem for him. The potential for immodesty was. So you might be thinking, okay, that's incredibly strange, but it's just a few individuals, right? Well, Dr. Al Aswany's point is, no. This deep split isn't just a personal quirk. He argues it has devastating effects on an entire society, leading to a kind of mass self-deception. It basically creates a psychological loophole. It's like a get-out-of-jail-free card for your conscience. You perform the rituals, you pray, you fast, and you get this warm feeling of righteousness. And that feeling then acts like a shield, protecting you from the hard, often costly demands of your own conscience. And once you has that loophole, an entire society can start to rationalize inaction on the biggest, most critical issues. Dr. Al Aswany says this is how people can justify closing borders to aid or the existence of political prisoners or losing precious national resources. Instead of facing those hard truths, which would take real moral courage, they can just retreat into their rituals. It's the easy way out. And the contrast becomes so stark. Dr. Al Aswany points to international figures like Francesca Albanese or Karim Khan, people who risk their careers and their safety because they're acting on their conscience. They're driven by a moral need to do the right thing. Meanwhile, the society caught in this trap is encouraged to just perform the ritual, because that lets them avoid taking that same costly moral stand.
So, if this deep split between ritual and ethics is the disease, what on earth does Dr. Al Aswany say is the cure?
His solution is a call to heal this fundamental split. It means we have to consciously reject using rituals as a substitute for being a good person. The goal is to tear down that wall and reunite them so that your actions become the real, undeniable proof of your faith. And this really brings us to the core of his entire argument. The true test of your faith isn't how many times you bow your head in prayer, but how you treat the people around you. It's about whether your beliefs actually push you to act with justice, with compassion, and with courage.
And that leaves us with a final, really provocative thought to chew on. Where does true faith actually live? Is it in the quiet performance of a ritual, or is it in the noisy, risky, courageous defense of what's right out in the open? Thanks for joining The Explainer.